questions anytime using the chat box in the Zoom, and we will address them during the Q&A session. Okay, so we have a fantastic lineup for speaker today. Here's what you can look forward to. And we'll start an introduction to NVIDIA IGX technology and its applications to real-time AI image analytics for the medical use cases. And you can see next, we will hear about the critical role of video over IP in digital transformation of operating rooms. For the first two sections here, you can see here, first two ones, you can learn that we will explore how NVIDIA IGX and SDVoE technology come together to revolutionize the AI-enabled digital ORs. And finally, we will hear from the medical perspective on the benefit of real-time AI image analytics in clinical practice from Dr. Guo from the Chang Gung Memorial Hospital. Without further ado, let me introduce the first speaker. Okay, our first speaker is Yaniv, Medical Device Technology Product Manager at NVIDIA. Yaniv will introduce us to NVIDIA IGX technology, highlighting how the IGX enable data processing and decision-making in critical scenarios, also include the HoloScan SDK part. So Yaniv, the floor is yours. Hello, Yaniv.
Hi. Thank you for the introduction, Logan.
Yeah, thank you.
If you can go to the next slide. If I go quick, please, if anyone has questions, please let me know. All right, so IGX, what is it? What is it for? I'll talk about IGX, and I'll also talk about HoloScan, the software platform one of the software platforms that goes with it. So as looking at applications that require real-time AI that have high throughput requirements, that have high functional safety requirements. We're looking at a few different areas. We started out focused on medical devices, and that's what we'll talk about today. IGX is also applicable to some of these other areas like manufacturing, scientific computing, industrial robotics, etc. We like to call it surgery to satellite. So it's a platform that we want to have wide adoption, and we created it for this embedded space where we have a few different needs that are not being met currently. So if you can go to the next slide, please. So what is IGX? It's an enterprise-ready AI platform for the industrial edge. So it has several components. The base component is a hardware layer. Again, that is industrial grade, meaning it has a supportability for across a wide range of temperatures. It has functional safety features enabled built into it, and it has 10-year life cycle support. So it is ready for these ISO and IEC specs that are for functional safety. And it differentiates from consumer grade or other enterprise grade hardware platforms. And it is a specific hardware platform that we want to evolve it to become more hardware agnostic in terms of the software support. But for now, it is tightly coupled with these frameworks that we see above the software layer. The software layer, NVIDIA AI Enterprise for IGX. Again, this is a software that is licensed, that is developed and supported by NVIDIA. It involves a long-term support stack built on an OS, AI frameworks, libraries, and SDKs, enterprise-grade security. So we do security patches, CVEs, and support that fully. And then also functional safety, again, is an aspect of this, which is applicable across the medical domain, of course, and across other domains. Again, this is 10-year support, so it's optimized for applications where you require a long life cycle and require high uptime and support. And at the top, we have a series of SDKs and acceleration libraries. I'm going to talk about HoloScan here for embedded edge and medical applications. We also have Isaac for robotics and Metropolis for more industrial applications. And so basically the goal of all of this is to have customers and end users and OEMs developing these for their customers have a very, very easy ramp using NVIDIA technology. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to design the computer. We've designed it for you. You can customize it. You don't have to design and build your own software stack. We basically will maintain and support the hardware and the software stack, working with our partners, of course, to enable that. And then the customer can kind of customize their application layer very easily. So we'll get to that. Next slide, please. And again, the key benefits, it's high performance. It's an integrated platform. So it provides the high performance that NVIDIA technology provides for IGX, for AI acceleration with GPU and the ARM system on chip module. And then what's unique of this platform, again, is also high bandwidth and low latency. So this is for applications, again, where you need real-time control, and you have the embedded SmartNIC, our ConnectX SmartNIC, which is, I'll show you in the system diagram a little bit, allows you to do things that you can't do on other platforms. So it allows you a very low latency connection from the I/O directly to the GPU without having to write to the CPU, which saves you a lot of overhead. So for applications where latency is critical, high performance and throughput are critical. The next thing that we offer, again, is safety. For applications that require functional safety, we have what's called the safety island on the Jetson, on the system on chip. These are actual hardware monitors built into the Jetson. We also have a separate safety MCU microcontroller that is on the motherboard that has a separate OS that is monitoring the Jetson. So there's multiple levels of redundancy built into this. And support, again, for the 62158 and other standards for functional safety. Security, again, this is something that is built into this, and it is comprehensive. And it also involves a board management controller, a BMC, for seamless remote provisioning and management over the network. And again, that is one of the main benefits, that as a developer, as an end user, you can focus on your application without having to worry about security updates constantly being a threat. That is something that is managed as part of the stack by NVIDIA. And again, getting to that, the enterprise support, NVIDIA AI Enterprise, it's 10-year software and hardware support for the entire platform. And again, just to iterate, the goal here is not for NVIDIA to directly sell this. We're providing this as a platform that's easy for example, for Advantech to use to create products for end users. So it's just basically making this process a lot easier and faster to iterate on. A key benefit of that, once you have a standardized platform, is that you can then pivot towards more regular upgrades. You can imagine have this be a kind of a more standardized compute platform, compute brick, if you will. So you can focus on the application layer and the sort of the special sauce that makes your application as an end user more attractive. So you can focus on that part of it and less on the underlying infrastructure. And then, of course, the benefits of having something that you can more easily upgrade and replace because it's a standardized module. Next, please. All right, so what is Holoscan? Holoscan is showing you one of those SDKs and the application layer. Again, very quickly, how do you use a GPU? You have to use CUDA, right? CUDA, and it's kind of at the base of our stack. And the stack is basically built to abstract out the CUDA functionality to give users as much as possible of that optimized functionality in AI and acceleration for other compute, high performance computing be one of them, but without having to be CUDA experts. So at the very top, a C++ or Python developer could create an application in Holoscan, what we call Holoscan operators, which are very simple chunks of code that do specific functions. They are linked together, and they can work on one node or multiple nodes. And basically, it's domain agnostic. We're talking about surgical video can work on other kinds of video. You can have a front end for a specific I/O, and then feed that into your pre-processing, your inference, your post-processing, and your visualization. And you can literally build a workflow in 15 minutes. Again, so this is basically what all of this stack is supporting. We have HoloHub, which is a sort of a repository on GitHub of reference applications, both from us and from third parties that are open source. And then that gives you a wide range of kind of a library of applications you can pull from to modify as you wish. And then the model zoo, different models that you can take, modify, and build upon, etc. So the goal is to make everything simpler, reduce development time, So to allow you to focus on your specific expertise in your application. Again, it's customizable, reusable, flexible. It's scalable because you can you can run holoscan applications across multiple nodes, right? In hardware, multiple IGXs, multiple GPUs. You can scale from the embedded device to a cloud server. And this is something that we're working on with something that was it's called Holoscan Cloud Native that's coming. And then and it's designed to be upgradable, of course. All right, next slide, please. So again, the fundamentals of this, I'll try to go fast here, so to respect your time. It's modular. So each one of these chunks of code called an operator has a specific function. They can work in parallel. You can string them together in series, and they can work across multiple nodes. And of course they're reusable and they're customizable. Next slide. And again, not to go into too much detail, but they're fundamentally there for I/O. So like we're talking about SDVoE. We have a couple of different built-in network operators that deal with Ethernet. We have some video capture card operators that deal with specific capture cards or more generic capture cards. And then in the middle, we have AI inference, pre-processing, inference, and post-processing operators, and then visualization operators at the end. So the key is that you can take these, modify them, and you can build something with completely existing GPU libraries. And again, you don't have to be a CUDA developer. You can be a C++ developer, Python developer, and we just you're basically programming in what we call holoscan operators. Okay, next slide. Okay, and so what is a little bit deeper into the hardware layer? IGX, we have two different kinds. Just to decode this, IGX is the platform. Orin is the current generation of the Jetson system on module. The system on module is an ARM and a GPU. It has 248 tera operations per second, which is a measure of the AI performance. It has a 2048 CUDA cores and then 64 tensor cores. So it's a pretty good sized GPU on its own, and it's integrated on the same die as an ARM processor, which again is the CPU. So if you can see it kind of the module on this motherboard. This is an actual photograph of our motherboard. It's not a rendering. This thing exists, and there's a powerful set of I/O there, which I'll show you in the system block diagram for in a second, next slide. But we have the full range of Ethernet, USB, two high-speed optical ports. It's a standard micro ATX form factor. And then, of course, we have PCIe slots that allow you to connect a GPU and an I/O card. All right. There's also a base management controller, which again lets you do this remote provisioning and the safety processor. If you go to the next slide, I'll show you the block diagram of this. And again, this lays it all out a little bit more concretely for you to see. So basically, it's an industrial grade, wide temperature range, 10-year supported hardware platform, which corresponds with the same 10-year support for a software platform. It's designed to be easily managed. It's already made. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And the key thing I want you to see here is some of the NVIDIA technologies that are exclusive to us and to this platform is of course, we have the SOM, the system on module, the Jetson at the top, and that gives you built-in GPU support there. So you have already GPU acceleration there. If you want more than more than the level that you have here, you can go with a discrete GPU that can plug into one of the PCIe slots. But between them is this Connect X7, and that is really the heart of the system. That is a DPU, a data processor unit, that is offloading all the Ethernet functionality from the CPU and running it natively at much, much, much higher efficiency. So that you can see there are two 10 gigabit Ethernet ports that plug in. Those are the two optical ports you saw on the photo of the motherboard. Those go directly to the ConnectX, and the ConnectX is a 32-lane Gen 5 PCIe switch. What that means is you can take data in from an SDVoE feed and feed it directly into either the SOM's memory, right, which is shared between the CPU and the GPU. If you have a discrete GPU connected, however, you can pipe all 200 gigabits per second over that Gen 5 16-lane PCIe connection directly into the GPU. All right, so that gives you basically zero copy. You don't have to write to system memory, and you can go directly into VRAM on the GPU. So if you have a very low latency surgical video pipeline, for example, and surgeons are notorious for being sensitive to latency, this can be a key issue. Again, if you have data coming in on a capture card on the other PCIe switch card, sorry, then sorry, on the other PCIe port, if you have a capture card, that again can be piped directly into the GPU via that connectX. So a very powerful feature there, and then we've kind of built this whole concept around that. Again, that's unique. It's the only place you'll find the connectX chip down on a motherboard, not on a PCIe card. Next slide, please. So we have a family of products. We have a developer kit. Again, you can have options of which GPUs you get, discrete GPUs you get in the developer kit, or no GPU, and then 2 production options. Again, these are NVIDIA certified. So the key is that this goes through a qualification process that rigorously tests all the features of the package, the system itself, all the connections, the throughput, the cooling, power, to make sure that everything is up to spec, and what you see here with our certification for OEM products. The 700 is the system I'm talking to you about here. It's the full kit of the motherboard. The 500 is an industrial grade module that then is built onto a customized motherboard. So you can work with, again, the OEM would builds a motherboard, so Advantech would design a motherboard for a customer that, for whatever reason, needs a more customized solution. Next slide. So again, there's a family of both performance and connectivity, going from the standard AGX Orin, the AGX Orin Industrial, which again has more of this functional safety enabled and 10-year support. The IGX 500, which is an upgraded version of that Jetson Orin Industrial, and then the 700, which is the full motherboard. Next slide. Okay, and you can see the benchmarks, of course. The dark green is the Orin by itself. The medium green is the system with the RTX A6000. And then the lighter green is that system, the Orin 700 IGX, with the RTX 6000 Ada GPU. And again, so without no discrete GPU, Ampere generation and Ada generation discrete GPU. So again, you can kind of get an idea of the performance increase. All right, so more GPU, better. Next slide. And I don't know how I want to, we can wrap this up, but basically, the reason this exists is to provide an option that is for mission critical applications. So reliability, security, and regulatory compliance readiness. We're kind of trying to bake that in so that customers don't have to reinvent the wheel, and the system is kind of certification ready and supportable and reliable. Okay, next slide. This is an eye chart here, but we provide a lot of support for functional safety. Next slide. Again, with security, it starts with hardware. So basically the root of trust for how the system boots up. Crypto acceleration, secure boot, secure debug. Again, we have multiple features built into this. I won't go into that here, but that's basically it's built into the platform. Again, one of the benefits. Next slide. All right. Again, if you're managing your stack on your own, a single change can have catastrophic consequences. So managing the stack is non-trivial, and that's something that you get with NVIDIA AI Enterprise. Next slide. We manage that for you. Again, we provide support services. We provide, additional services that are, onboarding and guidance to help provide faster development. If you go to the next slide. Again, so the NVIDIA AI Enterprise basically has a production branch that's updated regularly, and then a long-term support branch that has, basically an overlap period of 6 months and then runs for 10 years. So you can get on the train at different stops, basically. and then you're good. Whatever you go to market with is good for 10 years. Next slide. So basically, what I've been saying about cost of development, again, the time and budget that is spent on things other than AI deployment is critical. So if you look at all these, the different aspects of developing a platform like this, some of this is compared to the DIY, we can save you a lot of this. And I can go the next slide. You can see how a lot of that is then shifted over to the left. Next slide. So you can see where a lot of this, you don't have to do the software engineering from scratch, the platform design from scratch, the hardware software integration. You don't have to do the troubleshooting. Again, software optimization, all those, design and build for scale, software reoptimization, all those steps where you're creating your own platform. And there might be valid reasons to do that, but if you can map your application onto an IGX HoloScan platform, you'll save, and your customers will save a lot of development time and really be able to focus on things that are making money. Next slide. Okay, that's it. We didn't go over by too much. If there are any questions, please let me know after.
Yeah, thank you, Yaniv, for this very insightful presentation. For each section, we allowed 2 questions, and we will have a final Q&A in the last part. Any question? You can raise your hand. Every kind of question is allowed, like for application or like a medical application or some IGS questions are all welcomed. Okay, so maybe after all of presentation, we will have a 2-way discussion. Then thanks, Yaniv. Next one, we will explore how the video over IP solutions play a critical role in transforming the traditional operating rooms into the digital ORs. So our next speaker will be Stephen Tremblay, and the president of SDVoE Alliance, along with Jackie Liu, the product manager in Advantech. Together, they will discuss a critical need for the ultra-low latency video over IP solutions in traditional operating room and how this technology reshape the surgical environment. Jackie, please take it away.
Hi everyone, I'm Jackie. Can you hear me? Yeah, should be.
Yeah, sure.
I'm in charge. Yeah, I'm in charge of the SDVoE product line in Advantech, and so please move to the next page. Yep. As you can see, Advantech offers a comprehensive range of SDVoE products to support our customers, from standard models to hybrid solution and modular designs. So these solutions are designed for customers to build cutting-edge operating room or clinic very easily, as well as those updating existing facility with a hybrid SDVoE encoder and a PCIe Core smart display module. Also, very easy to enable seamless IP-based video streaming. So let's move to next page. Yeah, as shown in this diagram, here's a typical use case for medical application. Advantech provides a one-stop shop services, which covering video acquisition, transmission, composition, display, and even the AI analysis by leveraging SDVoE system, and of course, the NVIDIA computing power technologies. So today, I think we are very honored to have the president of SDVoE Alliance, Stephen Tremblay, here to explain why SDVoE is the perfect fit for medical video transmission and display. So let's welcome Stephen.
Thank you, Jackie. I'm Stefan Tremblay, president of the SDVoE Alliance. Next slide, please. So SDVoE, what it is, it stands for Software-Defined Video over Ethernet. So the Alliance is a nonprofit organization formed by a bunch of companies in Pro AV, just like Advantech. And we promote the adoption of Ethernet for Pro AV, dictating software to define the AV applications. Next slide, please. So SDVoE is really tackling the AV over IP world. Today, many different AV over IP solutions exist, but they are not interoperable together. And this is what we're trying to fix. And the second biggest issue is the most AV over IP solutions are not pure matrix switch replacement in terms of performance. So many other solutions offer over IP, but they have big delays or big compression artifacts to deal with. SDVoE has none of that. So the technology proposes a more performant solution compared to other AV over IP. Next slide, please. So this is why we are more performant. First, the zero latency. As Jackie explained, it is very important for medical application to reduce the latency. So SDVoE has an unmatched performance of, for example, from end to end of 0.078 millisecond latency, which is blazing fast compared to everything else. Also, we are software defined. That is very useful, being software defined to do any type of applications you might want to do with your installation. So for example, with SDVoE, you can do point-to-point, you can distribute video over IP, you can do display wall functionality, multi-viewer, KVM. And by being software defined, you are automatically software proof because everything is upgradable. Next slide, please. It is also more performant because of its low power. SDVoE the processor comes from TSMC low power 28 nanometer ASIC. So they produce a maximum of 2 watts power consumption, which is compared to equivalent FPGA-based technology. Really, the benchmark there is no one can match this level of performance for power. Also, SDVoE is uncompressed. So it's important, for example, in medical application for the surgeon, but also for AI algorithms that can work reliably. And I'll touch base more on this later. Next slide, please. SDVoE is also interoperable. All SDVoE products are driven by the same API. Just like Yaniv was saying, the API is the logic, is the software layer underneath the hardware. And it is very complex, but by being supported by only one vendor, in that case, it's Semtech, it makes it future-proof and it makes it interoperable, just like NVIDIA is supporting their own API. Also, security is one thing important. When you put your things over the network, you have to make sure that everything is secure because an IP switch is an open platform. So you have to make sure that all the points of attack are protected, which is something that SDVoE can provide. Next slide, please. So we see the SDVoE being flexible, being capable of doing point-to-point connection. And if a TX is not connected directly to an RX as the point-to-point connection, if you connect an Ethernet switch in the middle, then you can do distributed AV over IP. Next slide, please. So when you do connect an Ethernet switch between TX and RX, you suddenly enable a powerful platform that can be defined. So for example, you can do a video wall application, you can do a multi-viewer, a KVM, all this being defined by the software, which is very, very flexible. Next slide. So on this slide, we see, for example, the possibilities for multi-viewer. The multi-viewer technology inside SDVoE is really flexible. You can do all types of shapes. In medical, for example, it has a neat application where, let's say, the output of the surgeon screen can be viewed by the nurse station with other windows on top of it for monitoring the vitals from the patient, things like heartbeat and blood pressures. So this is a useful application for multi-viewer. Next slide, please. So in order for me to describe how flexible the SDVoE technology is, I will run through some example of the instantiation of the technology in real life in 9 different verticals. Next slide. I'll go quick because time is pressing us. So this one would be in command and control, where the SDVoE technology was used to on the merits of ultra-fast switching time and its integrated display wall technology. So this one was black mine operation, very big installation with 512 SDVoE endpoints. Next slide, please. This one is in corporate. We have a military tank manufacturer that also produce tanks, but simulations to train the tank operators. In their simulation chamber, it was important to have very low latency, so the trainer could be immersed in the experience, just like if he was on the real tank, but it was just a simulator. Also, the fact that they could distribute the signal to the trainer and the trainee, which was a different room. Next slide, please. This is an example of digital out of home. It's the Indiana State Museum, where they are showcasing many parts of the Hoosier State from prehistoric time. And they have tiny pods all across the museum, so the public can choose what they want to see. Inside those pods, one thing that was important was the fact that they wanted low power and high MTBF. So again, SDVoE being low power was the technology chosen. Next slide, please. Government, we have lots of wins in government space. Number one, because SDVoE is a very secure solution. This example would be the European Parliament. It's quite a big installation. It has 1,000 endpoints. The SDVoE technology is mainly used in the translator booth. So these are operators that translate real-time every speech in the European Parliament, and they use our SDVoE technology to fast switch between one camera and others. Next slide, please. This one is eSport. As you can imagine, just like in medical, eSports is requiring ultra low latency. As you imagine, if you are trying to play an action game with high latency, you will affect your performance for that game. So this one is UNC Esports Arena. This is the home of Carolina competitive esports team. Next slide, please. We are also having good feedback from live events application. This one is quite unique. It's the Zurich Opera House, where they use the technology to film the characters performing on stage. So they use it to broadcast on big displays the emotion of the dancer in my example. And the SDVoE technology was really the technology of choice because of the low latency. When you look at the performer directly or on the screen, you don't want to perceive any delays because it affects the experience. But also the fact that SDVoE is controlled by API makes it very easy to reconfigure for every day because it's a different show every day. Next slide, please. This one is education. Very often, lecture hall in universities are connected with SDVoE technology. They have, whoops, Logan, the slides are okay. They require for every lecture hall, they require one wire only, and that one wire need to transport video in, video out, and 1 gigabit of Ethernet data for the wireless access point. Basically, SDVoE is about just the only technology that can transport everything onto one 10 gigabit cable. So this was the perfect technology for that. Next slide, please. This example is in residential, high-end residential, where you do a distribution of video across your home or across your yacht. You have the requirement of very low latency. You want perfect sync between audio and video. And the multi-viewer functionality is more and more used for this application because you want to be able to, by a push of a button, to be able to view all your source on the same display, for example, to see what's going on your favorite channels. Next slide. So this one is, we can skip. I have a better one. Next slide, please. Yes, this one is an installation that is TLV Medical Center. It's a big project where they plan to do 10 operating rooms. This installation is done with Advantech products. Here, the SDVoE technology was chosen for many different reasons. First, the zero latency. Both for the surgeon and for the AI real time, it's very important to have zero latency. No compression, meaning that we don't introduce artifacts by transporting those pixels to the AI algorithm or to the surgeon, which is very important as well. It's also controllable by API. So just like Yaniv was saying earlier, the fact that an API takes care of the complex task and companies like Advantech, for example, can focus on the application layer makes a big difference in time to market and ease of development. The integrated multi-viewer is quite neat also in medical, and the ultra-fast switching time. So next slide, please. So why use SDVoE in the medical space? For a couple of reasons. Number one, video quality is very important. Human life can depend on it. Number two, it's a faster time to market because the SDVoE is covered by a quite comprehensive API that is well maintained by Semtech. So just like NVIDIA is maintaining the API for the inference processing and their complete workflow, same thing with SDVoE. Low latency is very crucial. Sometimes we call it low latency, but very often we say zero latency because it is so low compared to other technology that we say zero latency. The multi-viewer functionality is very often required, and the API control, which makes interoperable solution, and it's easier to develop on this. Next slide, please. So this is why my image are difficult to compress. So because they are difficult to compress, even this presentation now doesn't show justice to the 3 bottom images, but really the slide is there to say that high compression will affect the AI performance. So if you have a workflow, in that case with NVIDIA performing the AI functionality, you don't want compression because the AI output will be sometimes completely wrong or severely affected because AI is sensitive to edges more than human. So this concludes my part of the presentation. Any questions?
Okay. thanks for Stephen and Jackie. I think maybe we can leave all the questions in the Q&A session. Okay. Okay. So thank you so much for the SDVoE introduction. And let's look at how NVIDIA and SDVoE technology combine together for the synergistic approach for the AI-enabled digital ORs. So turn to my parts. Okay, so the next part is Logan will introduce how to integrate the NVIDIA IGX and SDVoE technology for some of the medical imaging applications. Okay. So before we start, I would like to show you one video of NVIDIA HoloScan that is combined with some of the medical imaging.
From medical imaging to surgical assistance, artificial intelligence is helping to deliver a new standard of healthcare. Doctors use medical devices to learn everything they can about their patients. Now, NVIDIA Clara HoloScan can be used with medical devices to add real-time AI applications, like what radiation therapy company Research is doing here to help healthcare providers at every stage of treatment. Here's an example of how Clara HoloScan reconstructs, automatically segments, and renders patient anatomy. Clara HoloScan can help to navigate treatment plans with voice, giving doctors the insight they need when they need it.
Zoom in.
Zooming in the image.
Rotate left.
Rotating image left.
Remove ribs.
Removing the ribs.
AI has also entered the surgical suite, and Clara HoloScan can be used as an extra set of eyes, detecting anatomy and tracking tools. Together, medical devices and the Clara HoloScan computing platform bring real-time decision support to healthcare.
Okay, so from the video, you can see that there are some of the sensor and some of the rendering by the software and the hardware integration. So in this slide, you can see that I just support plenty of the frame grabber card from the sensor input, and the medical HoloScan is one of the supported SDK. And this is for medical in the red one. And also another one is Metropolis, is another for the factory traffic and the surveillance applications. So from this chart, the left part here is that I just support lots of sensor, medical one, and all of the camera or some of the different kind of interface one. And IGS as a very fantastic hardware to support the discrete GPU and also the powerful industrial AGSO ring and some of the decode and encode like what SDVoE supported. And also for some of the safety MCU. And for the software aspect, we have the HoloScan as a video just displayed, and for the Metropolis for different kind of applications. Okay, so think about some of the applications. For the medical, there are maybe 3 sub-aspects for like a real-time AI. That's for the patient care, GM AI, so conversation with some of the future doctor. And second part is like a surgery operation for the augmented surgery and the medical imaging, like some anatomy detection. And this is one of our proof of concept with Chang Gung Hospital. You can see that from the IGS here and for the SDVoE here, we can use this kind of a different technology to combine a total solution for the medical image. For example, the doctor is doing some of the endoscopy surgeries, and he can have a very low latency to see the raw image here, and also real time with the kind of endoscopy polyp segmentation, like AI detection in the same screen here. So it can be like a surgery navigator, help doctor to focus on more some of the parts they needed. Okay. And like this part is what we can see from those kind of integration from those kind of IGS and the Vega, like for SDVoE and some of the decode encode integration, we can achieve some of the application, as I mentioned, for the real image and also for some of the AI detection image in the same very low latency in the same screen here. Okay, this is just one example that we integrate one demo box with IGS and also for the SDVoE solutions here to have all of the integration in the real-time cases. Okay, so I will show you some two different kind of use case here because the time limitations. The first one is what I mentioned for the polyp detection to have the hollow scan pre-trained model for this kind of abnormality like polyp segmentation detections in real time by IGS, SDVoE, and hollow scan. And the second part is like this. It is for the ultrasound for the heart. You can see that with the hollow scan and IGS, you can dynamically to detect the key distance inside of our heart, and also to have a classification model to predict maybe there is some of the heart disease. Okay, so for this part is what Naif has mentioned. I will skip that part because some of the IGS product we have for 700 and 500, and we can design for customer. You have different kind of requests. Just let us know. We have a very full size one for IGS 700, and maybe also you can customize one for your like link IO or dimension. That's for 500 IGS. Okay, so this is like a customer journey. If you need the discrete GPU like for very real time applications like a very high and enterprise AI model, you can choose IGS here because we can support very high bandwidth like 500 gigabit and the BMC for self regression for some of the application. If you need some of the medical like FMEA, FMEDA, some of the medical certifications, IGS is the best solution for your application in the medical side. Okay, and this part is for the hollow scan that we support different kind of pre-trained model. For example, for the endoscopy, for the multi-AI inference, and some of the endoscopy tools to be inside or outside of body detection. Lots of pre-trained model, you can utilize that. And the last part, I would like to talk about if you need some of the IGS samples, we can have this kind of a MIC series pre-trained model with a hard scan can be pre-built into this kind of a system. So if you have some of the requirement for the software and hardware integration, just let us know. Okay, so this is kind of a more detail for the IGS. So because of a time limit, I will skip this part. If any kind of a request for the IGS, hollow scan, and the SDVoE, just let us know. Okay, due to the time constraint, and I would like to hand over our last part to Dr. Guo to let us introduce some of the benefit in real-time AI image analytics in clinical practice from the hospital perspective. Hello, Dr. Guo.
Hi everyone, let me share my screen.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Sorry, you need to hand over the sharing.
Okay. Yeah, just share to you.
Okay, hi, good morning. Today I would like to share with you the medical real-time analytic in clinical practice. And Chang Gung Memorial Hospital is a very big medical system, and we have millions of outpatient services in a year, and we have over 20,000 staff in hospital. So this is a very busy hospital chain. And that's why we are trying to use AI and other digital technology to improve the efficiency and to improve the patient satisfaction. And there are many different kinds of challenges in modern healthcare systems. And for example, in our system, we have a 16 endoscopy room operating simultaneously and multiple ultrasound suites running parallel procedures. So there are so many time-critical decision points. For example, we need to determine whether a tumor needs to be biopsied in real time. And also, we need to understand the instant diagnostic feedback. And also, we have some challenge about the resource management for staff allocation and for equipment utilization. So the real-time AI analysis system should have a remarkable benefit in clinical application. I will show you several applications in our system. And for example, we have endoscopy, colonoscopy. We have a high accuracy for the detection and allow the physician to do the biopsy in real time. And also, we can optimize the procedure duration. In general, we can reduce 30% of examination time. And we also need to have a dynamic monitoring for the patient, because there are always tens or hundreds of patients waiting for examination. And we also need to have digital support and also to try to do clinical education for our young staff. For example, this is a very typical application of an endoscopy, and we need to identify the polyp, and if the polyp is identified, the doctor then will do the biopsy in real time. Why this is very important? Because for any 7% increase in polyp detection rates, and the colon cancer incidence will reduce 1%. So that is a very important thing to detect a polyp and to remove the polyp in real time. We also have ultrasound applications, because ultrasound is now one of the most important tool for physician almost in every subspecialties. And especially right now, we have many handheld ultrasound. Almost every doctor have a handheld ultrasound in his pocket. So now we try to implement a specialized protocol across different disciplines. For example, for pediatric applications, for cardiology, for thyroid, for interventional support. For example, in this application, we try to identify pediatric dysplasia of the hip. That is one of the most important hip anomaly for neonates. If we do not identify this problem, the neonate will need to undergo a major operation six months later. So the procedure, the ultrasound detection is important, and AI detection will help the doctor to do a more accurate diagnosis. This is another example. This is for thyroid nodule detection. And as we know that thyroid cancer in Taiwan is increasing. And right now, almost twofold increase in thyroid cancer. And thyroid ultrasound is the modality of choice to detect thyroid nodules. And if we detect a thyroid nodule, we can remove the nodule before they become malignancy. Real-time support for physician is important to identify suspicious lesions and help them to determine whether we need to remove the nodule. This is another application, that is a cardiac ultrasound. And now in Taiwan, the second the cause of death is ischemic heart disease, and almost everyone above 50 years old, they need to have cardiac assessment, and cardiac heart transplant is quite important because we can assess the heart function and also the mobility of the myocardium, the heart muscle. And we have lots of different AI technology to help doctors to assess the heart function, such as ejection fraction, and also the cardiac wall motion. Also, in hospital, we need to take care of the patient risk of fall. So we need to do gait analysis and also to improve the safety features such as real-time fall prediction, and we need to immediate stop notification to help the patient out of the risky pattern. So there are also a multi-model integration. We can integrate X-rays and geographies and also some eye examinations. So we need to, there are many considerations for the system architecture. We need to understand the hardware, the software, and also integrate different systems, such as the PACS system or electronic medical record system, and also have mobile notifications. So in the future, hospital need to have a cross-department coordination for prediction analytics and introduce novel technology and hardware and software to enhance the capability for multi-model fusion and automated reporting. And there are also research opportunities. For example, we can develop an AI algorithm inside the hospital and do clinical trial to document the real world benefit of this model and application. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for the sharing from Dr. Guo. Is there any question for this part? And welcome for all the questions for all the speakers today. It's really a fantastic sharing for all the speakers today. Especially we can hear from the hospital application and like a very fantastic future plan for the medical AI from Chang Gung Hospital. Yeah, it's really fantastic. Any other question are welcomed. For me, I have one question, maybe for Dr. Guo. Like for the AI plan for the Chang Gung Hospital, for this kind of maybe for endoscopy, polyp detection, and some of like AI detection for this kind of abnormal parts. Will it be ready, or maybe it has been already implemented into the whole hospital?
And yes, we already implement AI model in clinical setting.
Okay, so it really like to be implemented into the hospital, and it helps doctor a lot for some kind of the medical AI. And is there any kind of a requirement maybe from hospital side you need for what Advantech or NVIDIA or like SDVoE technology we can help?
Okay, there are many applications we need the help from technology partners. We have a centralized system to take care of the X-ray application, but for mobile applications such as the endoscopy or ultrasound and many other on-spot examination, we need to have an edge device, edge computing. And the deployment of this computation technology in clinical setting is quite difficult because because we need to have a multi-channel and have latency consideration, and also we need to connect the medical device to computation hardware and softwares. So we need to have a technology partner to help us to implement this technology and also to connect to the routine clinical services.
Yeah, understood. So like Edge AI and some of the powerful, maybe like IGS would be very suitable for some kind of applications in medical side. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your sharing. Any question from all the attendees today? Okay, due to the time limitation, maybe you can leave some of the following up questions to us, and we will help you as soon as possible. We leave our contact information here, and thank you for all the speakers today for the sharing. Like we know the user and from the supply side, what we can have a win-win situations in the future. Okay. So thank you for attending the webinar today. Okay.
Thank you.